Hello. So, this is a EUS Grandmaster, around 500 or so LP, so just about to get into Challenger, game where Singed, Socialist Singed, formerly known as Anken V2, you might have seen him in other videos of mine if you've watched them. I'm not gonna blame you if you haven't. And he's playing against Lucian. Lucian is a historically awful lane to play against Singed. That goes for every other ADC really. Funnily enough, small world, that this Lucian player is the Gangplank player from the How to Play versus Gangplank video. So perhaps it's just this guy just can't play against Singed, but he has 100k points on Lucian and is level 7 with him. So he knows what he's doing, which makes this lane extra interesting to watch. Although later on in the game, Socialist Singe slips up a bit, makes a few mistakes. So this is going to be a very brief video because we're only going to be looking at the laning phase because there's not much educational value outside of the laning phase. But yeah, there's a lot to discuss at the very start. So okay. He pulls the minion aggro and organizes it so it's there, right? He doesn't hit it, he doesn't touch the wave. And why is he doing this, right? Why is he not just hard shoving it with his Q? Well, if he hard shoves it, then it's going to be about here. Around about here. By the time Lucian gets back from helping with red, it's not the best spot for Singe to be in against a ranged auto attack champion, because he's going to be able to get most of this farm on his own, especially with Lucian's Q, Lucian's E, where they're quite good for getting last hits because of his passive. So you're not going to want that. And he could try and like slow push it as well, so the next wave meets up with it, and then a wave gets caught about here, and it's just awkward and awful to be in, because even if you're playing passively, if the minion wave is about here, you're standing here, you're opening yourself up for ganks. Don't want that. Don't touch it. Let the minions do their business. Let the Lucian shoot a couple of them. Don't want to touch it. He's sitting in the brush, so he is not even thinking about getting auto-attacked right now. This is a short-lived dream, as we'll see right now. So this Lucian just puts a ward in, being an absolute arsehole. Now these minions, you could go and get a Q and try and run out. And here lies the main problem. He just got taken down. You can't really see it because of the text. Oh, thank you. It says 400 health out of 595. So he just took 200 damage, a third of his HP, in 1 Q and 2 auto attacks. Just for taking 2 CS. 2 CS for 200 health. Is that worth it? Probably not. And this is a massive, massive, massive mistake that I see so many Singe players make. And this is why the Lucian lane is such a hard matchup. This is why the Teemo lane is such a hard matchup. This is why the Vayne lane is such a hard matchup. Callista 2, screw it, we'll throw her in there as well. People don't respect how useful getting XP is compared to getting gold. Gold is nice. It's nice to get gold. You can buy more items. You can try and get a lead in that regard. It's extremely risky, and you get punished so easily. Like, what did that Lucian have to do? He had to press Q and auto attack once with his passive. That's it. And he chunks Socialist Singed for a ridiculous amount. Obviously, you don't want to be doing this. You want to be hanging back as much as you can. You want to stay within the XP range, which is actually quite large. It's designed for if you're behind and you need to get the XP. So that's what he does. And we'll see for the rest of this laning phase, he's very passive, except for when Lucian makes a mistake. If Lucian makes a mistake in his positioning, you have to remember that he's an ADC. ADC is very squishy. If they miss position, you can really mess them up. Anyway, let's actually watch some gameplay. So look, I can barely even see the wave right now. He's still in XP radius. But there's no way Lucian's going to try and run up to auto-attack him, because he'll just end up in the middle of the wave. Like, you can barely see Lucian right now. And also, something great that's worth noting, that minion right there, the melee minion, is pretty much on one tick. So what Social Singe does, and we're going to jump this back, it seems so small. Right. So what's going on here? This is a key strategy you should be employing whenever you're playing against ranged champions. Look, he's going to Q now. He's only going to double tap because he knows the minions are going to run into the poison and die before the minion wave hits it. So what he's doing right now is he's farming whilst running away. And this is one of the luxuries of playing Singed. One of the only luxuries of playing Singed. You can farm whilst you're running away. And that seems so obvious, but it's so underutilized. Like, just that quick puff of poison, you guaranteed some farm. It almost gives you extension, as if it's a skill shot, because you're throwing something in front of you almost, and he's doing it again here. He's not running up to farm whilst Lucian's guarding the wave. He's letting Lucian get his farm, and he's letting the wave push to him, and he's catching the wave just before, well, he's not catching the cannon, but he's catching the wave as it's running into him. So he's able to farm extremely safely. It's very, very hard to penalise that without just eating a face full of poison. It's fantastic. It's such a nice little mechanism in Singed that you don't have on any other champion, because every other champion has their extension, their damage dealing ahead of them. So what you see right here, you see how far back Social Singed is? That Lucian just walked up to check if he was even still in lane. That's how far back he is. But watch this. And I'm actually going to just show it like this. This is really important to watch out for. Now look. He's going for this farm. He goes in for this. He runs all the way over here, right? He runs all the way over here. How ridiculous is that? What a silly movement. Actually going to go back 15 seconds. I only want to go back like 5, but yeah. So watch. He checks if he's still there, runs back, goes for this bit of farm. Well, this bit of farm. This bit of farm he goes for, runs up way too far, Social Singe knows, throws his W behind him so there's no way of him getting out. We're actually going to go back again because there's another thing we want to talk about. We're actually going to slow it down a lot here, right? He's walking so far. Like, look, they're together. He throws his W and he auto-attacks and then flings. So the auto-attack before he flings, because he's got his W down, there's no way Lucian's going to E out, there's no way Lucian's going to flash out, there's no way Lucian's running away. He runs in, and this is what the very good Singed players do. When you're catching someone on W, get the auto-attack in, 2 stacks of Conqueror, then you fling 2 stacks of Conqueror, then you auto-attack, 2 stacks of Conqueror, you're sitting on 6, you only need 1 more auto-attack and ignite to fully proc your Conqueror. So he lands. He's on 8 now. Gets the auto. Ignites as he goes with the auto. Auto-attacks again and just bops him to death. It's so close. Conqueror and Ignite save his life there. It's fantastic. That's the sign of a very good Singed player, and this is a sign of a very greedy Singed player right here. So he's on 40 health, 30 health. Lucian TP's in with the home guard, runs in. He goes for the flash fling to try and kill him on the tower, and he doesn't get it. It's a tragedy. But when you see those just tiny bits of poor movement, right? You go for them, you jump on them, because it is an ADC you're playing against. Just think of normal games where the ADC is in bot lane and you're going for the team fights and you just run in, grab the ADC, and they're done for. So something worth noting, he's not going for his Amp Tome, he's not going for Ruby Crystal, he's going for 2 Doran's Rings. This is just because they're cheap. He probably would have just gone for 1, but with Trundle getting that kill for him, he actually got a bit of gold from that, so he's able to afford 2 Doran's Rings and his boost of speed. Doran's Rings are nice because health and ability power are quite nice, and they have an alright sell back price. Doesn't really want to be going Dark Seal here necessarily because you're not really expecting to get many kills in the Lucian matchup. Lucians can be very slippery if they know what they're doing and they don't make many mistakes. So going for the Dark Seal is kind of risky because you're not really guaranteed to get those stacks which you want. Also, the Doran's Rings just help with being a bit more buff, a bit tankier, just so he can take more harassment. And look, he's playing far further up, and they just did this fantastic little fight, right? And this wasn't even a normal like actual fight. Look, so you see, and this is important. You see the way they run back and forth. He throws his W when he gets a little bit too close. Runs in, does the auto attacks and everything. He's gotten a lot of damage. And whilst the poison is lingering, he gets a level up. He sees, and I'm certain of this, he sees that there's a level up to have. So he runs up, starting the fight, knowing he's going to have his ultimate before Lucian does. He knows he's going to get it mid-fight. Levels up the ultimate mid-fight, ults as soon as he gets it. And then another thing, which is very sneaky, and which I've only just noticed now after watching the game for about the 5th time. This is wonderful, right? He just face tanks this. He's in his ult. He flings him, and you see that? You see that? So Lucian uses his Q here. Such a Singe with the move speed from his ultimate. Actually dodges it by running out of it. He probably would have died if he had tanked that. So always keep moving. You can dodge Lucian Q with just running if you are quick enough with it. And then obviously he just dies to the corrupting Conqueror applying ability power and the poison damage over time. About 2 seconds after you leave poison trail that the poison lingers. Just clears this out. Nothing spectacular, he's just farming. Bot lane's feeding. Nothing changes regardless of the elo you're in. Goes for some platings to get a bit of extra gold. He's actually tying on farm now. If we look at the gold they've gotten, he's about 600 farm, not 600 farm, my god. 600 gold up on Lucian now, even though he sacrificed so much at the start in terms of farm. He essentially didn't farm for the first 3 minutes of the game. Because he shouldn't. There's no point risking your life to get farm when you can just sit there and soak up the XP. And that is the key message of this video. Because this applies to every ranged matchup where you're going to get bullied out. Just sit back, relax, drink a mojito, just watch as your experience bar fills up, and you don't have to do anything. You could check the stock market. You could text your mother, phone her even. What else can you do just standing in lane? You could do anything. You could play chess. It's a fantastic time. You just sit there, get XP, and you wait for your enemy laner to misposition or make a mistake. And if they don't make a mistake and they don't misposition, or you can't capitalize on their mistake, then you just chill. Social Singe was lucky because he was able to get that mistake where Lucian just ran way too far up. Able to get that mistake, able to abuse it, get the kill, and use that to snowball his into a lead. Obviously this doesn't always happen. Things go wrong sometimes. Sometimes they'll be able to get a kill on you if you are playing like this. And you just have to sit back, take your losses on the chin, just soak up XP, and then your time will come, because you will be able to outscale them if you know what you're doing. He's going for another fight. Runs in, gets the Conqueror stack. He's just bullying him. He's got ultimate. He knows he's got flash up now. He's got ignite. There's no reason why he wouldn't want to just go for this. See? And you see how he leaves the fight pretty much halfway through, right? Let's have a quick look at that again, right? Fling, ignite. He knows it's done. He's already running out. More Lucian flashes away. Because obviously, he's got Conqueror, which is giving him AP. His Q is doing more damage because the Conqueror stacked AP. And he's got Ignite on him. He's got so much damage over time on this guy. There's no reason for him to be there to risk dying to the tower. Just run out of tower range. He's done for. And here we go again. He's just cycling through. Just trying to push that lead by getting platings, getting waves. And at this point, the lane is won. This Lucian can't go toe for toe with Singed anymore. See, right here. He's building into a proto belt, which I would advise for every ranged top laner. Well, against, not as. Don't build pro belt if you're playing Lucian. But you want to be building this because it gives you extension forward, which is really useful for gap closing. Obviously, enemy ranged champion has distance from you. They can auto-attack you from a distance. They have a distance between your character and their character. So getting Pro Belt is extremely useful if you're melee, because you want to be closing that gap so you can get in there. Especially on Singed with the Fling. The Fling is ridiculously powerful. And if you have Pro Belt... this Lucian's terrified. If you have Pro Belt, then you're able, like, every 40 seconds or so... Also, this dive goes terribly wrong. Every 40 seconds or so, you're able to get that extension, so you're able to catch people. If you have Rylai's, then the bolts that shoot out will slow as well, which helps getting onto people. It's just a fantastic item. Here's a... Oh, is it this part? No, it's not. Ignore me. Sorry, I've watched this game too many times. But yeah. So Proto Belt is fantastic, especially in higher elos actually as well, because people are more likely to freeze. And if you're playing against someone who you know understands wave management, then Proto Belt might actually be the choice here. Okay, freeze. We're gonna quickly discuss this. So, what's going on right now? TF is still here, Lee Sin is still here. Trundle is still here. He's taking these. He just peeked out, so these two know that he's here. This Lucian's teleporting in. Lucian has died, so he's going to get home guard. Lucian's not Lucian. Singed is just dipping, running away. Trundle, awful spot. In a terrible spot. He doesn't have flash. He's sort of boned here if they're just going to go straight for him. Because there's no point chasing a Singed. Especially if he's that far away compared to someone who's just trapped. So what Social Singed should have done here, and this is a mistake on his part, he should have thrown his W here. Because if he throws his W here, Trundle pillars, then any advance they try and make is completely negated. However, he doesn't W here. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Every time I watch this game, I'm just like, well, this was a perfect W. He should have W'd as, when he was standing here as soon as he saw the teleport coming in, really. Doesn't do it. He zooms in. The pillar alone isn't enough. The Lucian is really far behind, so he can't really do anything, but they're going to try it anyway. And this is risky. He throws his W here, but it doesn't really do anything. Risky business. You could have been a lot safer with that. It's not the end of the world, but it's things like that that can throw your lead or get your enemy laner a kill, which obviously you don't want to be dealing with. If you notice, they're actually on very similar farm right now. But 1,200 extra gold on Social Singed. So I would consider this completely one lane. He was able to abuse that mistake by Lucian at the beginning, which really dislodged Lucian's default, I would say, winning position in lane. Because going into this lane, Singed loses to Lucian. But if you're able to pick out those little mistakes, then you can actually even the playing field a bit. Which is exactly what you need. And you'll notice that this lane wasn't won just by killing him. It was won by playing extremely smart in the very early levels. So you can be in a position so when Lucian does make a mistake, you can actually capitalize on it. Instead of being extremely low because you've been trying to get farm, and then seeing a mistake and not being able to capitalize on it because if you go in, then you die. This is about it. Social Singed, formerly Ancom V2, if you know him by that name, he streams on Twitch pretty regularly. They're quite good streams. Games like this, he runs through his thought process, which is quite similar to what I'm relaying now. I'm just going a bit more in depth than what he would be. But yeah, quite a nice community over there as well. So definitely worth checking him out if you haven't already. But yeah, that's about it really. This is quite a short one. There's not that much to talk about beyond this. He makes a lot of blunders and it's a close game, blah blah blah. But it's really about those tiny little things in the early laning phase which really set the rest of the lane in motion. And the main issue I find with when people say, oh my goodness, I can't deal with these AD top laners, could you please help me understand where I'm going wrong with these ranged top laners? And it's like, well, yeah, you're getting auto-attacked way too much. And that seems so silly to say, like, well, of course, if I'm playing against a Gnar, or I'm playing against a Vayne, or Kalista, or Lucian, blah, 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 of course I'm going to get auto-attacked. They're auto-attack champions. Gnar less so. Gnar uses abilities. But, yeah, this is a testament to showing, well, why are you getting auto-attacked? You should be standing way behind your caster minions and soaking up XP. That's how you win the lane. Seems counterintuitive, but Singed is just a counterintuitive champ in this regard. You sit back, you soak up the XP, and then you just outscale them. At level 6, you can normally beat anyone, maybe excluding Vayne. But yeah, that's about it, really. Check out Social Singed on Twitch. But yeah, that's it.